and we bring the music down. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Oh no, what is going on? I'm getting
You okay?
boom. No more
good.
feedback. We're good. Okay.
We're good.
Ladies and gentlemen, sorry, we've been gone for 2 weeks. Now I gotta get all my stuff back in feng shui, all good and stuff. But we're there. It's AEW Dynamite. I'm stumbling over words. This is not a good start to the show. AEW Dynamite, boom or bust. That is yours truly, the Drip King, Jimmy Bay, and I am joined, as always, by Nick the Geek to the right of me. Nick, how the heck have you been? And how? Well, I guess I won't bring up a sore subject. You're back from vacation. You're back from vacation.
I'm back from vacation. I got very drunk with my sister. We had a good time. The weather was like Spain down in Cornwall, so that was fantastic. I did, unfortunately, sunburn the hell out of my feet because I'm from the north and we don't get sun in the north. So that was painful. But other than that, I am fantastic. Raw, different subject, I know, but was awesome this week, as it's been awesome for weeks now. NXT was great. Dynamite, on the other hand,
we will get to.
Yes.
Before we get in, looking good, guys. Thank you, babe. It is you just looking the best, though, as always. We already know this. And yes, I had to break the news to him right before we got on air that I'm going on vacation next week, so we're going to have to miss next week. But it's all right.
Folks. It was my fault originally. Now it's Jimmy's. We will get to a regular schedule at some point.
You can be more mad at Nick, though, because he was gone for 2 weeks. I'm only gone for one. And yeah, we're going back to Philadelphia for WrestleMania 40. I hope to see a good show.
Yes.
But to Dynamite, because, man, this was... It's unfortunate we couldn't have talked. I think 2 weeks ago, I was like, man, I really wanted to talk about that one because I really enjoyed it. And then last week's, I was like, good thing we didn't have a show because I probably wouldn't have been as nice. And then this week, the 250th episode of Dynamite, and I'm like, all right, we got a stacked show. And I had to constantly remind myself, no, I'm a fan. I cannot sit there and talk about the thing that other people were talking about, and that's putting these matches on the show. Not one, but two of those matches on the show for the 250th episode. As a fan, it's like, okay, that's cool. And that's how I'm going to leave it. But for me, it didn't go quite as I thought it was going to go. And for Nick, I don't think it did either. And we're going to jump right into it because they opened up the show with MJF, Maxwell, Jacob Friedman versus Will Ospreay. And I don't know about you, but the moment I saw this match going on first, I had time limit draw was the first thing that came to my mind.
Correct. Same with me.
I didn't catch whether it was a 30-minute match or a 60-minute with just. I don't even know if they announced it. I don't know if Justin Roberts.
They did. They said it had a 60-minute time limit.
Okay. If I would have caught that, I would have been more prepared for what we were about to get into. But I didn't hear them say anything, so I was just like, all right, well, let's see what we got. And we got we have a 59-minute and 58-second match between Maxwell, Jacob Friedman, and Will Ospreay for the international title. Okay, so I'm gonna go for it. I think you're gonna be a lot more harsh than I am. So I'm gonna pinpoint the 3 parts of this match that I thought were absolutely the coolest parts of this match. All right. My absolute favorite part of the match, Max is on the outside, and he's talking about how he's so much smarter. And then the camera shot, this is something AEW has not been the best at, and I was critical of him back in the day. I'm not so much anymore. But the camera shot of Maxwell, the head-on shot of Maxwell, talking about how he's so much smarter, and then Will Ospreay flying through behind with the hidden blade on him was beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
That's the kind of things I want to see AEW utilize more with the camera work, because that was amazing. As I said, I put it on there. Great. Or
that was
Maxwell
fantastic.
Jacob Friedman says, great. We had. This is the thing. We're gonna butt heads on this one.
Okay.
I liked the fact that MJF won with 2 seconds left, because we've seen in the past 1, 2 time limit.
Ding, 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 ding.
Done. Oh, come on, really? Or we've seen the time limit draw. I think it was Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega, time limit draw. And then the MJF
Hangman Page
against Daniel Bryan.
No, yes, against Daniel Bryan was a time limit draw.
Was it?
Yeah,
the first match.
The first match.
Okay, that's right. That's right. And then we had MJF and Adam Cole, where Adam Cole pinned him 1, 2 time limit draw. So I liked the fact that it looked like that's what we were going with, and it didn't happen. I thought that was a nice little twist. They shocked me because, again, I was like prepared for a time limit draw. We didn't get it, even though it looked like it was about to happen. So, again, great.
Yeah.
And then the top rope Poison Rana, where MJF reversed it and hit Will Ospreay with the reversal that he always does. Like, you do the Hurricane Rana, Will lands on his feet. He does it every week now. It's not that cool to me anymore. Unfortunately, you can't just beat a dead horse like that. It loses its luster. But Max doing it with the Poison Rana, okay, Max is like, I'm better than you, and now you know it. Great. So I'll stop there for now, and I will hand you the reins, sir. I would like you to tell me, before you go crazy, I want you to point out the things you liked first. That's what I want you to do.
Okay, sad little thing I liked. I love the fact that Will is still wearing the Hayabusa gear.
Okay.
Because it's the anniversary of Hayabusa's accident and everything this year. So I like the fact that Will is honoring a guy that he looked up to. Hello, Cameron.
Thank you, Cameron. As always, man. Always. I really appreciate you tuning in all the time, man. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed that because it's honoring a man that I was a huge fan of when I was younger. So that's always good. I loved Will hitting the first Sasuke special that he's done in AEW. The cartwheel backflip moonsault over the top rope. That's the Sasuke
Do you
special.
think that was a just because Ricochet's come in and that's something Ricochet does a lot of as well? Yeah. Okay.
Honestly, I do. But I like that.
Yeah.
So
nice little Easter egg. Nice little Easter egg.
It was a good little Easter egg. And like yourself, I thoroughly enjoyed Max's reversal off the Poison Rana because I wasn't aware he was that agile.
Come on now. You haven't seen him do stuff like that before?
No, we've seen it, but there's a difference between that level of agility and balance and what he's done previously.
Okay.
And honestly, I cannot say it was a bad match because it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it was a bad match either. It wasn't.
It wasn't a bad match. They killed each other for nearly an hour. Well, basically an hour. Problems I have with this match are as follows. 1, Tony Khan, you're a fucking idiot. You just made a WCW era move on the scale of Goldberg versus Hogan being given away on Nitro. This match could have main evented All In, your biggest UK show, your biggest show of the year, with the largest star of the UK in the modern era in Will Ospreay, and your guy. Max is AEW's guy. He's their Sting. All right? He is the AEW. He is Mr. AEW. And instead of putting this match on your biggest show of the year, you, to attempt to pop a rating and impress Warner Brothers, decided to put it on free TV, which made 0 sense at all. And to me, we are going to butt heads. I hated the finish. If Max was going to win the title anyway, why are you running your 2 top stars ragged by making them wrestle an hour on television? If Max was going to win that belt, you could have done this match in 30 minutes.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
If you think if this leads to another match between, it will lead to another match,
which it is,
and it's a 2 out of 3 falls match, do you think that is why they did that finish at that time?
Yes,
that would make sense. Correct.
That makes sense.
So the follow-up, I think the follow-up is going to either hurt or help.
Correct.
The way they did the finish.
I mean, I assumed. My initial assumption was I said to my brother and a couple other guys, Max is going to win here, and then Will's going to win the match back in Wembley and get his title back. But I don't think that's happening now.
Daniel Garcia is going to win the title at Wembley.
Yes. And I think Will's wrestling Ricochet at Wembley. Because
I'm torn. I'm torn.
It's a spectacle match.
Yeah.
And realistically, if you want Ricochet's dead, go on.
I'm torn because I do see that match happening, but I also see the triple threat happening.
I'd like to see the triple threat
Ospreay, MJF, and Daniel Garcia. But at the same time, Ricochet's a free agent, so it's like, okay, if we're not doing Swerve and Ospreay, and we're not doing MJF and Ospreay, Ospreay's clearly wrestling Ricochet.
Yeah,
like that's
exactly. That's where my head's at on that.
Yeah,
Max, I love you. I think you're one of the best in the world, but Jesus Christ, you need to get in long game shape. I know he's not been back much and he's been away for a while, but anyone that needs an oxygen bottle after being in the ring for 58 minutes and 59 seconds. All right. And also, I'd like to point out, Will Ospreay was slightly damp and sticky during that match after he got a beer thrown on him. But there was not an ounce of sweat coming off that man. Whereas Max,
it was a very slow-paced match.
Oh, it was. It was a very slow-paced match, and that's why I believe Max needs to get in better ring shape. I love Max.
Can I counter that? I don't think Max needed that. I think that's part of the gimmick because he's there to prove. The whole reason the match happened is that he's there to prove that he's better than Ospreay. Everyone in their mind knows that as far as in that ring goes, Ospreay is better. As far as what he's capable of doing in that ring, I think Max is a better overall wrestler for sure. But
agreed.
Capability-wise, Ospreay's top of the food chain. So to really sell that, having Max do the oxygen thing afterwards is like he just escaped death beating Will Ospreay. There's no way he could beat him again, which is going to be what helps Ospreay.
Well, it's going to be the crux of the storyline.
There you go. I knew you'd bring that because the crux is your thing. But that's going to be what brings the rematch back. I was hurt, but I could have kept going. You couldn't. And I think that was the reason for it. Because I think Max could go. To
give credit, well, the fact is Max Jacob Friedman hung with Daniel Bryan for an hour.
Exactly.
If you can hang with Daniel Bryan for an hour, you can hang with anyone for an hour. I just think that Max is not in the best ring shape right now because of his time.
Oh, for sure.
And also, he needs to lay off the human growth hormone because he's got back knee like nobody's business. And you only get back knee by taking supplements that help you get bigger. As Adam Cole said, go piss in a cup and let's see which one of us passes the test. Because at this moment in time, it ain't going to be Max. I'm sorry, it's not. I hate to bring it up. I will say, on the other hand, the one thing I thoroughly enjoyed about this match was heart versus head. Max used his brains, as he always does throughout this match, to hurt Will Ospreay's arm, which is perfect because it's set up for the salt of the earth and everything else. And Will has got more heart than anyone in the business. So it was how much punishment in AEW. Right? So I'll say in AEW. All right. So it was a question of how much punishment can Will take, which we've not seen in AEW since he arrived. He's generally has the upper hand in most of his matches for the majority of them, with the exception of the stuff with Kenny and so on and so forth. But I did enjoy that. However, this match was not my biggest problem with Dynamite this week.
We'll get to it. I'm going to go ahead and point out some things I didn't like. Or I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and explain why the match didn't hit for me. Because as you were pointing out, and I agree with you, I don't think this was a bad match.
No.
If it was bad, I would have turned it off. That's just who I am.
I'm not watching a bad match for an hour.
And it's not that I don't like long matches, because I had someone trying to say that's what, you just don't like long matches. Bullshit, because I loved Bullet Club Gold versus FTR.
Yeah.
That's one of my
56 minutes.
That was an amazing match. And then
I adore Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada, an hour and 10 minutes.
I've watched a few of Ric Flair's old Iron Man matches. The 60-minute match, but the 60-minute. I liked them. And then Danny Bryan versus MJF. I love that match. So it's not that I don't like long matches. This match was built on the fact that MJF wanted to prove that he was better than Will Ospreay.
Correct.
And Will Ospreay is the cocky guy who's like, well, I'll show you you're not better than me. So to me, I'm looking for some kind of urgency or like, I want to beat you. And I didn't get that from this match until probably the last 10 minutes.
Exactly.
And then it kind of at that point felt forced. But that's nitpicky. I won't give him shit for the forcing it because it was a spot they wanted to include in the match, and that's fine. But what I just said was spot in the match, which I feel like is how this match was constructed. We have this spot, we have this spot, we have this spot, we have this spot. We're going to hit all these spots, and they're going to be amazing. And then they repeated some of those spots 2-3 times over again. It felt like it was an exhibition of showing off what these guys were capable of doing, which if that's your cup of tea, awesome for you. I'm not going to hate on you for it. That's your thing. Great. Not me. I just don't, that's just not my thing. I just don't feel like you're telling a story there. I had someone trying to say, well, there was a story. And I was like, to an extent, there was. I'm not saying there was no story.
They weren't telling it in the match. I've always said, and to quote Bret Hart, if a move doesn't lead somewhere, don't do it.
And the moves were just leading to another move.
The moves were just leading to a spot. It was, we do this spot, then we do this spot, then we do this spot. There was no interconnecting story driven throughout until Will Ospreay's shoulder came into it. Credit when credit is due.
I'm going to bring up this too, because at first he was selling the knee. But the second he had to start selling that shoulder, that knee was fine.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give him some slack here. I imagine it's not hard or it's not very easy to sell multiple injuries, especially
two body parts at once.
Especially if you're kind of new to that game, which Ospreay is. I don't care what anyone says, they can kiss my butt. He has not always been a seller. He has gotten better at it, and I applaud him for it, 1,000%. But, it was like, it was as soon as the shoulder came into play, it was like, boom, my knee's fine, my shoulder hurts. And that's okay. I'm not going to nitpick that either, but it was.
I will say Max was guilty of the same thing in this match.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
He tweaked his knee early on. Will was concentrating on his knee.
No, he didn't.
Well, he pretended to tweak his knee. He
pretended to. So that wasn't a thing. What I didn't like Max doing, they had it was like a 10-spot thing where they just kept kicking each other and hitting each other, and they would bounce off the rope. It's like, okay, come on, 2-3 tops. When you start to do it overboard, it kind of takes me out of it, and this is the problem. Every time I felt like I was getting into the match, they did one of those things where it was like just too over the top for me. And it brought me back to like, oh, this is just an exhibition to show off what they can do.
Yeah.
And what they can do is mightily impressive.
My brother quite accurately compared it to Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn from the early ECW days, where back then these were incredible spectacles to watch, but it was essentially an offensive exhibition. It wasn't a match. It was an offensive exhibition. That's what this match was. And my problem with that is there's no need for an offensive exhibition to go an hour, because an hour-long match should be a storyline that is crafted and exuded through physical violence that shows you where things are leading. Nothing led to anything else directly. It was just, right, we finished doing this. Now we're doing this. And now we're doing this. And then we're going to go back and we're going to do this again. Also, Max, now, Max going back on his word as a heel, nothing really new.
No, that's
but really going for the kangaroo kick when he's a heel.
That shows desperation. I'm fine with that because it shows desperation. I'm cool with that. He had to pull it out of the bag because he's like, okay, maybe Will's got a little bit more than I thought he did. I'm cool with that. I'm not gonna. I think that's fine. The AJ Styles off the middle rope, that gets kicked out of. Come on now. Oh, he grabbed rope. I guess that's not a big deal. But it's still like he did the Styles Clash.
On the apron.
On the apron. And it was okay. Okay. We got a tombstone from Max off the middle rope. That's not finished. Okay. Even though it just ended
Danny Garcia's career.
Did he hit it though? Or did Ospreay reverse it?
I think Ospreay reversed the tombstone.
Okay, he reversed it. So I'll backtrack. That was stupid on my behalf. But the Hidden Blade at like 54 minutes after that grueling match, Max kicks out. It's like, come on, man.
Come
on. what you're doing is weakening a move, and it's not like it's someone else doing it and they're kicking out. That's Ospreay. Like that's his thing, and he kicked out, and then all the other people who don't kick out of it, Max did it after 55 minutes of a battle.
Yeah.
Other people take it after 10 minutes and they're done.
How crap does it make everybody else look?
It just took me out of it. It really did.
Like I said,
if he grabbed the rope on that, I shut up. Just like I corrected myself on the Styles Clash off the middle rope.
Yeah,
I'll shut up but that was just.
I got 30 minutes into the match and I turned around to my brother because I always watch Dynamite with my brother on Thursdays, and we both turned around and said, "This has got to end soon, right?"
Nope.
Because they'd done roughly. Pardon me. They'd done roughly 9 false finishes in the first 30 minutes, which is absurd for any match. If a match goes 30 minutes, there shouldn't be any false finishes. If a match goes an hour, there should be a maximum of, say, 4. Because otherwise, you're oversaturating the audience with shock and awe. That is an unnecessary tactic that, I can't believe I'm going to say this, Paul Heyman was guilty of in the early 90s. But this isn't the 90s.
I'll say
this is 2024.
I don't like putting things in boxes and saying you can't do it this amount of times, you can't do it this amount of times. I'm not saying I disagree with you, but I've been in situations where I watched a match and they were doing things that I normally wouldn't care for, but because of the story they told, I was like, okay, that actually makes sense and I'm cool with it.
All right.
In this match, again, and just to really drive this home, my son loves Will Ospreay.
Yes. That's because he has taste.
Okay. Got up and left. Didn't finish watching Dynamite.
Exactly.
He didn't finish the match. Like, usually he'll leave if Ospreay leaves or loses because he's mad. He's like, oh, that's bullshit, because he's one of those fans. That's cool. I love it because I used to be that way too. Yeah. But he just left because he was just bored.
My brother.
And that's what really made me feel like I'm not wrong in thinking this match isn't hitting like I was expecting it to, I guess.
Well, as I said, I was sat with my brother, and my brother is also a huge Will Ospreay fan, and he loves MJF. But he went out halfway through, made a cup of coffee, got some lunch, came back in 15 minutes later, and his first words were, "Is it not over yet?"
Yeah. So, with that, we've gone on about it, so it's time. Where are you at? Because I'm very curious. He says thumbs down. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and...
I do not normally criticize long matches, Jim. I'm a fan of long matches.
Oh, no, you're old school. You love that shit.
Yeah, this was one of the most poorly constructed 60-minute matches that I have ever watched. And I can't believe I'm saying that about a Will Ospreay match. Because Will Ospreay has had phenomenal amounts of 50 to 60-minute matches against the likes of Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, Tetsuya Naito. And he has banger after banger after banger. And I don't know whether it's because... You can't say he and Max don't gel, because they do. It was just the match for me was poorly constructed and to a certain extent poorly executed. I don't like spot fests. No. I don't watch wrestling for spot fests. I watch wrestling for stories.
Let me rephrase that. I like spot fests in like ladder matches and shit like that, because that's what those matches are for.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. But for a match, it's not.
A title match.
I was about to do this because I don't want to be a hater, but hey, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to judge it based on my fandom here and what I enjoy. So no, It's getting a thumbs down because, again, it didn't captivate me. It didn't grip me. And at the end, I was just like,
that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, so you're putting this match on. It should have been the best thing they've ever had on AEW television. And it just wasn't.
And I'll say this
out overlong.
This is the perfect way to explain how it felt to me. Because I've always seen people talk about like how shows are too long and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, this was an hour-long match and it felt like it was an hour-long match.
Correct.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah. I'll use as a counterpoint as a WWE doing a WCW mistake. They put Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar as an Iron Man match on SmackDown in 2004. 2003, 2004. It's my favorite Iron Man match of all time because it went through half of SmackDown and it felt like it went by like that.
Yeah.
because it was so well constructed, it was so well put together, and so well executed.
And there was urgency.
I'm sorry, Will. Max, you're a dick, so whatever. But Will, I'm sorry, you didn't do it this time.
Okay, so we'll move on now because I figured we were going to spend quite a bit of time on that one. But before we go on, I will say one last thing. Not about the match, but about the two people in it. I think these two guys are the because I'll point this out. I saw the ratings come out, and I don't care what the ratings are because if I enjoy it, I enjoy it. That's where I'm at this point as far as ratings go. So whatever. The ratings didn't dip. They took like a this small of a dip. So people were definitely entertained by this. And I think you got to build your company now around a Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Will Ospreay feud. You have don't crucify me, people. You have your Rock and Austin feud now. Which is crazy because I also think you have Swerve and Hangman, which is a Rock and Austin kind of feud for AEW.
Agreed.
You have two now. There's no reason you shouldn't be capitalizing on this moving forward. Now we will move forward to the next segment, which was the Acclaimed joining Mark Briscoe, begging, "Can we join you for Blood and Guts? We beat the Young Bucks. We're there, blah, 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 blah." And
please,
Mark
everybody loves the Acclaimed.
Promo. They join, and then he goes, "But it's not just up to me. It's up to this man too." And then Swerve comes in. He accepts him as the two more members of the Blood and Guts team AEW, which, again, based on the four members at this point who are now Team AEW, the Acclaimed make more sense than Mark Briscoe and Swerve Strickland, in my opinion.
A hell of a lot more.
Unfortunately, it comes at a time where they're just not as hot as they've been in the past. So it's kind of like a bittersweet kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and then that was the segment. So, anything about this segment that stood out to you that you want to talk about, hit up, or
Mark Briscoe's promo was great.
As always.
He's always doing a great promo. Max Caster looked high.
So?
No, just, and I don't mean like in a good way. Like, he seemed to be a bit sluggish in his delivery on this episode. Anthony Bowens, great as per usual. Never screws up, always hits his lines, looks great, wrestles great, always does a good promo. But Max Caster just seemed a little bit off in this promo for me.
I don't
know if that's intentional because he's supposed to be nervous because he's never been to Blood and Guts match before. But speaking of Blood and Guts, as we're on the subject, yet again, why is it on TV?
That's a traditional match for them to have on TV. It's always been on TV.
It should be on a pay-per-view.
When they get a schedule, a more a schedule that's more like consistent, I feel like moving Blood and Guts to a pay-per-view will probably be the idea. But until then, I don't care that it's on TV. I don't. It'd be cool if you paid for the advertisements and we got no commercials through it. That'd be cool. But
I am a Dusty Rhodes nut. All right, Dusty is my god of professional wrestling. Dusty invented that match, and Dusty invented that match for pay-per-view. WCW put it on pay-per-view every single time. Now WWE do War Games. What pay-per-view is it on? One of the big four.
Survivor Series. Oh, to be fair, I don't want to give them shit for doing things differently because times are changing.
No.
Wrestling is evolving.
Everyone does something differently. But when you are handling an intellectual property like War Games, call it Blood and Guts if you like, but it's War Games.
They can't
show it the reverence it deserves.
Okay, so when they introduced it, though, they didn't have the schedule to fit it in, and they kind of have to do these things to bring an audience in. They have to use those kind of things for their TV to captivate. I get it. I'm not like, and that's why I don't want to give them shit for it because it's just been a TV thing for them since its inception.
All right.
So
fair point.
It's not like he's doing it to pop a rating because they've always done that. I would like to see it move to a pay-per-view for sure. You can even name it pay-per-view Blood and Guts.
Exactly.
But until they get that schedule, I think it's fine being on TV. I do want to see him pay for the hour long though, where it's just no commercials because I hate picture-in-picture. You don't watch it with commercials, so you don't know what I'm talking about. Oh my God. I want to
occasionally Occasionally, I do watch it in picture, and Jesus Christ, even though I don't watch it with commercials, whenever they announce that they're going to picture, go and have a smoke, go and have a brew, because nothing is going to happen in that match for the next 3 minutes.
Except for in the MJF Will Ospreay match, because Will hurt his shoulder, and then he's like, I'm hurt, and he goes to the outside, and then they cut to commercial, and then Max goes out there and slams him into the steps, and that's your cut to commercial moment, and they missed it. So they did good with the camera shot, but then they missed their moment right there with the commercial break. But that's nitpicky stuff. I'm not going to go that far into it. So based on the blood,
I will, just because this isn't going to come up, so I'm going to bring it up now. Didn't you think there was somebody missing from this week's episode?
Daniel Bryan.
All right. A group of people. You've got one of them.
Oh, the Blackpool Combat Club.
Where's Mox? Now, everyone shoots on me for liking John Moxley. Everybody says I'm an idiot. John Moxley is the modern day. John Moxley is the heart and soul of AEW.
He's their savior. I call Mariah May their savior now. But before Mariah May was there, John Moxley was their savior.
John Moxley was the savior of AEW.
He's had the best AEW title run, and he fills in when they need him, and he always knocks it out of the park.
Whenever they need him, and he knocks it out of the park every time. And you get up to your 250th episode of Dynamite. And here's another thing we always talk about. Not only was the BCC not on it, but they didn't even put a video package together celebrating 250 episodes of Dynamite.
They had a lot going on. I won't.
No, they didn't. They had 3 matches, Jim.
And one of them was an hour long.
Matches.
And one of them was an hour long. So I'm not going to hate on it. It's a celebration. I don't think you need to do that. But I will, to counterpoint the John Moxley, I feel really good right now because I am defending AEW a lot, even though I shit on their first match. If anybody in the world of professional wrestling deserves a break, it's John Moxley. So if he don't want to be there, he don't have to be there. He's earned that. And if he didn't have anything that was special enough to put on the 250th episode, which he doesn't, he just lost the IWGP Championship, and he's not involved in anything at the moment. So don't force him on there because I don't like it when you force things on it just
I wouldn't have expected a match. I wouldn't have expected an angle, but I would have expected a little promo. That's all that was required.
You would have had to bump something
up. No, all he has to do is talk up AEW for 30 seconds.
I just don't know where you fit it in with the show because everything that happened, there was a reason for it. And the only thing you could have done is shorten the Max match, which they didn't want to do. So it just didn't fit.
I only thoroughly enjoyed one thing on this week's Dynamite, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get to it in a bit.
Yeah, we will. But so with the Team AEW Acclaim joining, where are we at? I'm here too.
Fine.
It was okay, but I do like that the Acclaimed is in it because they should be in it. Yes, I just hate that it's just there's no steam behind him at this point. That does suck.
No, it's just the whole elite angle seems to have fallen flat for me in recent weeks. I mean, I do like the addition of Mercedes Moné now being associated with them because thank God she's finally a heel.
Remind me about this after the show because I'm going to pitch something to you. Another one of my illustrious, glorious, fantastic angles because I'm fantastic at them, people, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
I want to pitch it to you to find out what you think about it because I think it's brilliant. So we'll move on to the learning tree where Minoru Suzuki shows up and Jericho brags about how he's taken out Hook and he's taken out Samoa Joe. Oh, where's Shibata? I don't know. That's kind of silly.
Oh, no. Because Shibata got beaten up on Rampage by the Bad Apple and the Redwood.
Thank you. I didn't see it, so thank you. I was busy Friday. I couldn't go see it. So thank you for filling me in on that. I take back that comment. Good deal. I rarely miss a Rampage, and then the woman I talk shit is just saying, well, you didn't watch Rampage.
Sorry, dude.
Bad Jimmy. So Minoru Suzuki comes out and he says, hey, you and me next week, Jericho. And then he headbutts Jericho. Blah, 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 blah happens. And that's the segment. So I'm going to go first here because I've done nothing but praise this thing since it started.
Go
I
ahead.
love Minoru Suzuki. I think he is one of the funnest wrestlers to watch.
Murder Grandpa is amazing.
Yes, this segment was probably the worst part of the entire show because it was when he headbutts Jericho, they just watch it happen.
I know it's Minoru Suzuki, but you're 7 foot tall.
There's 3 of y'all.
There's 3 of you. One of you's supposed to be the bounty hunter, this dangerous wild man. Then you've got a literal giant and one of the greatest of all time. Suzuki may be a 3-time Pancrase champion, but he's
60
also
years old, bro.
He's a 57, 58-year-old man. Right? Why didn't you jump him?
And y'all knew this was coming.
It's just stupid. It's just dumb, and it's really disappointing.
He's that mad, everybody. I hope that wasn't expensive.
No, that was a picture falling off my wall and landing on my green screen. That's absolutely fine.
Okay.
I don't know how that happened, but it did.
Man, I hope that wasn't a computer or something.
No, we're good. So disappointed because I have loved everything the Learning Tree has done in recent weeks. It's been thoroughly entertaining, and this was just boring. Like when we saw Suzuki when I saw Suzuki came out, me and my brother were like, "Oh, Suzuki," and then it happened, and we were like, "Is that it?
That's it?
He's just going to come in, go bye, and then leave."
So, I do have a question. It's not necessarily about this segment, but it's about the show in general. Do you think the first hour of this show drained you to the point where it made it hard for you to enjoy other things that you might have enjoyed more had that hour-long match that bored you not happen? Was that confusing?
Okay. No, I got you. Okay. Basically, it ran me down.
Kind of just drained you. You're like, oh.
Yeah. My attention span was shot. Okay. I was fiddling about on my phone.
Okay.
I have always said that AEW does one thing very, very well, which is structuring its television shows.
See, that's one thing I
traditionally about. I know they tend to structure their shows quite well because they structure their shows with the intent of it being different than WWE's show structure. This week felt like Tony Khan watched Thunder from 1999 and went, I'm going to do that. And Thunder sucked. All right. That's why when we do the fantasy booking show and you're doing WCW, you never include Thunder because Thunder was the worst thing in professional wrestling.
TNT canceled it. Let's go on to
it was unnecessary. And this felt like he'd watched an episode of Thunder and said, I'm going to do that this week. There was so much on this show, even though it was so bad, even though there was so little on the show. So, and unfortunately, I'm getting ahead of myself. Carry on.
I want to say there was an interesting tidbit in this segment where
get off there, cat. In my mouth.
Redwood and the Bad Apple are banned from next week's match between Chris Jericho and Minoru Suzuki.
Yes, they are.
So, do you know what that is leading up to?
Well, I'm hoping.
By that sigh, I think you do.
Yeah.
Same with your father, just like your father. You think he's returning?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited. I am a Sammy Guevara fan. I know that's crazy.
I like Sammy.
Most people don't.
He has no. You get off there. You're not sitting on my new bag. It's going to cover everything in hair. Sorry, cat trouble. Never own a cat, people.
Even the cat is mad at this week's episode of Dynamite.
Yeah. Oh, no, he walked out the room when it was on, so I know he didn't like it. But I like Sammy. Sammy Guevara has Rob Van Dam level potential because of the way he wrestles. And I don't mean that he has the same level as charisma of Rob.
Okay. But I was like, wow, bro, that is
he doesn't have the same charisma of Rob, and he doesn't have the natural athleticism, but he has the style of Rob Van Dam. The reckless abandon. Yeah, he's nuts. Yeah. and it's a lot of reckless abandon. And he can do things that many other people can't do because of the way he had the control he has over his body in the air. So, go on. I know what that means.
No, you're good. I was just my neck is bothering me. I'm glad that you're a fan of Sammy though, because the thing I want to talk about afterwards is about Sammy Guevara. So this is going to be good. And if you approve it, I'm just going to go ahead and go off with it next time I'm on air. So my only issue with Sammy Guevara coming back is that he's just back with Chris Jericho again. And this vortex that people say Chris Jericho gets people in, I don't think anyone has suffered from it more than Sammy Guevara, which is crazy because it's supposed to help him. And I know he loves Chris, and I'm sure Chris loves him. And I'm sure he's doing everything he can to try and make it work and help. It just doesn't work.
Nope, it does not.
And that's the part I think sucks for Sammy Guevara here. And maybe it don't even happen. We don't even know. We're maybe getting ahead of ourselves, but that definitely.
No, I don't think we are, Jim. That's where we're going. It's
they could pull the rug out from us.
For those of you that have not watched AEW since its inception and might be newer viewers to the product, Sammy Guevara was the first person recruited by Chris Jericho into the inner circle. Sammy Guevara was also then the third person recruited into the Jericho Appreciation Society. Sammy Guevara was then Jericho's tag team partner. He was then Jericho's enemy. He was then Jericho's tag team partner. He was then Jericho's enemy. He was then Jericho's tag team partner. He was then Jericho's friend. And then he went off and had a son or a daughter, whichever it was. Congratulations, Sammy. Well done on you. Well done on you. All right. Sammy has been stuck in the Jericho vortex for 5 fecking years. Since day one. He's an incredibly talented young wrestler. Far more talented than the likes of Jack Perry. He's got more charisma than Jack Perry. He's better in the ring than Jack Perry. Nah, he is. Jack is safer in the ring. Sammy can do more, and he's a better storyteller.
I think Sammy's more excitable than Jack Perry. He is. I think Jack Perry's better, though.
Well, we'll agree to disagree on that one.
That's fine. That's fine.
We
can't agree on everything, Nick.
As a CM Punk fan, you should be ashamed.
I am. Every time I say it, I am a little bit ashamed of it. But I also like Hangman Page now, too. So I'm double ashamed of myself.
But I love this. Honestly, I think the new twist on Adam Page's character is great.
Yes.
The fact that he's driven by the obsession to destroy Swerve Strickland.
Yeah, it's good.
And he's even willing to re-ally with the people he now hates to do so is fine in my book.
Okay. So the learning tree segment. Boom. Oh my goodness. This is not looking good for Dynamite this week. All right. Next up, the new Elite promo where they're talking about, oh, you got those. Well, we have Hangman. And then Mercedes Moné comes in and she does this. And Okada goes, oh. And that's your segment. You can go first because I'm not.
Everything about this segment sucked except for Kazuchika Okada. That's
got to do tricks on it.
Right? That's a simple way. Like the Young Bucks, God love them. They can't cut a promo. They've never been able to cut a promo. They just sound like two whiny bitches. They've always sounded like two whiny bitches when they cut promos. Even when they were in Bullet Club in Japan, they sounded like the whiny bitches of the group whenever they were allowed to cut promos. I don't like Mercedes Moné. It's not a secret. I think all credit where credit is due. She's a phenomenal in-ring wrestler and she's done wonderful for her career. But she sucks as a character. Because
always has. Always will.
She's just a bitch. It's not hard to be a bitch. Okada, on the other hand, I love everything he does in AEW. I love the fact that he's having a laugh, that he now is apparently in love with Mercedes Moné after she does some little hoochie dance in front of him. Oh, so hot.
Does it work?
No, sorry, Jim. I love you, man, but not that much. But yeah, this whole segment sucked except for Okada. It was pointless. It didn't serve any purpose. Jack Perry wasn't in it, but then later on we found out why. Yet again, not good.
Yeah, Bucks rambled. Bucks rambled way too much.
Yeah.
The Mercedes Moné thing is like, man, it's crazy because again, I don't want to give too much away here.
Tell me about it later.
I'm here. I'm here with this segment because again, there's parts of it I do like because I do see something that could come out of this that's fucking amazing. But the Bucks rambled. This could have been almost half the length it was.
Agreed.
And I think Okada, it was too much. It was because, and I'll tell you why. I'll get here and I will make the comparison here, not between brands, but between fans. Because the whole problem people had with Okada going to WWE is they feared he was going to turn into a comedy character. He is now in AEW doing outlandish comedy shit. Yeah. And I love the whole shut up bitches, that's the line bitches. That and then the bitches at the end. I love it. I think it's hilarious. This was too much. Whereas I might have chuckled, but it was like, wait, this is Okada. This is the guy y'all told me is one of the greatest to ever do it. And this is Akira Tozawa stuff.
Fair point.
I like Akira Tozawa.
I am also here because I also see something coming out of this. And I kind of like Goofy Okada. You may not realize this because you didn't watch New Japan, but there was a period in time when Okada was known as Broken Okada. He dyed
Broken Corbin?
Broken Okada, like Broken Matt Hardy. He dyed his hair red. He carried balloons to the ring, and he was doing constant comedy shtick because he'd lost the world title as a heel, and it completely broke him.
Okay.
So this reminds me of Broken Okada a little bit, but with the flashy Okada coating. So I don't mind that. No. However, I completely agree. The Bucks needed to shut the hell up about 3 minutes into this promo.
I might not have been so harsh on the Okada criticism with the comedy stuff had the Bucks not rambled as much as they did.
Exactly.
And with that said, again, I do like Okada in AEW because I'm not the kind of person who's like, oh, you can't do comedy in wrestling. Yes, you can. There's a place for it. A huge place for
Goofy wrestling. To quote Simon Miller, Goofy wrestling for life.
And Okada has been great up until that whole. But that's 1 week. I'm not going to crucify the man for it. It's just this segment didn't work for me, and I'm not even giving it a thumbs down. I'm saying it's just not there for me.
We're there.
So next segment, it's the Mercedes Moné versus Nyla Rose match, where they had their match, and then at the end, Britt Baker, she's in the Sting match, Sting mask, not match, and then she's at the ringside. She punches Moné, takes the mask off, grins, jumps, chases around. I see what you think about this whole segment already. And then the security has to separate them, and that's the whole segment. So, with that said, I will say this. I enjoyed the match. The Britt Baker Moné's. I even enjoyed the whole angle where there's an open challenge and anyone can accept it, except for Britt Baker. Because you're building up towards All In. Thank you. You should be doing that, and great. As Jim Cornette calls it, the afterbirth of this match, though, was just it
bad.
It didn't work for me.
It was bad, Jim.
Yeah.
Because she pie faces Mercedes, which is in revenge of her doing it to Britt the other week. I get that. That's fine. She then jumps the guardrail to be instantly set on by about 8 security guards. One, you need 8 fully grown men to hold back Britt Baker.
Well, they got to knock them down.
Funny.
They overdo the security, beating up the security stuff.
They
overdo it. They completely
constantly. So you have 8 security guards holding Britt Baker, and Mercedes does nothing. Nothing. You've just been embarrassed on public television, and you don't want to get some kind of payback.
Chicken shit deal.
I will disagree with you on the match.
That's fine.
Because you may not have noticed, but they repeated 6 of the spots from Ospreay MJF.
I didn't, because I wasn't invested in the Ospreay match like I was this one. And that's the difference.
They repeated 6 of the spots from Ospreay MJF in this match. The abdominal stretch, the pin reversals, and you know what? I can't even remember the rest of them, but I counted 6. I like Nyla Rose.
I do too.
I think Nyla Rose is a great wrestler, great power wrestler. Did not match up well with Mercedes Moné in the slightest. I think they grated on each other more than they did gel. I did not enjoy this match, and I should have because I like most of Nyla Rose matches, but I feel like they were chalk and cheese as opposed to maple syrup and waffles. It just
so where are you at then? You're thumbs down in this, aren't you? So I'm doing
completely.
thumbs up because I enjoyed the match enough to not. I'm not going to give them a bad grade. I'm not going to.
Okay.
I like the match enough.
That's fair enough.
Afterbirth, I'm cool with it. At least they're building towards the Britt Baker Mercedes Moné thing. I didn't really enjoy it, but they're trying, and I enjoyed the match. So I'm giving the
credit where credit is due, after all.
So you said thumbs down.
Oh yeah.
Oof. Okay. Real quick, we'll just grade this one. We gotta pump through this. The Mariah May Toni Storm video package. I will say this about it. They said that Mariah May, we were gonna hear from Mariah May all night, and then they played this video package. I was about to lose my freaking mind and give this whole show 2 thumbs down if that was what we were gonna get.
Oh yeah.
Thankfully, that's not what it was. So I will
thank
say,
God.
I'm giving the video package
I liked it
up because this is your best storyline. This is the one you should be investing in and doing it. So,
in my opinion, this should be the main event of All In. I know you've got Swerve
right out of my mouth.
The main event of All In should be Toni Storm versus Mariah May. Mariah May's from London, people. And if you didn't know, Wembley Stadium is in London. All right, so that makes sense. 2, Toni Storm is the most overact in women's professional wrestling right now.
No.
Who would you say?
You can't say she's more over than Rhea Ripley. You just said that she might be one of the most over in the whole world when we're talking about
Okay. In AEW.
Toni Storm is the number 1 women's wrestler in the world today. She's not the most over, but she's the number 1 women's wrestler in the world. I'll give you that.
Yes. This should main event All In. It just should.
So
I don't think it's going to.
Yeah. After Mariah May turned on her last week, that was exactly what I put out. I was like, no, I don't give a shit. This should main event All In. I don't care. As much as Bryan Danielson and Swerve is going to be great, it doesn't have the backing with the story that this one does.
It's not just that. It's not just that. Bryan and Swerve, in my opinion, is quite predictable because Daniel Bryan's fatal flaw is he has no personal ambition.
We'll talk more about that when we get closer to the match because But next up, Jack Perry cuts a promo on Darby Allin, and then he says, "You beat up Brandon Cutler, so what?" And then it shows him beating the shit out of Brandon Cutler, and he throws him in the thing, and he says, "Come get me." And then that's the promo. It was very short. Jack Perry's getting better at these things.
Yes, he is.
And you beat up Brandon Cutler, and I will always freak out when you beat up Brandon Cutler. So I'm going to give my grade now. I give it a thumbs up. If you have anything you want to add to it, feel free. If not, we can move on.
I wish he wasn't using the "I will show you what a real sacrifice is" line because it makes no goddamn sense. But other than that, I thought it was fine. It's a good promo by Jack. Brandon did his job by getting the crap kicked out of him. It set the stage for the Darby feud. It made what happened at the end of the night really fucking obvious. But yeah, no problem with it at all. Thumbs up.
Okay. Next up, Mariah May. Oh, she got me because I thought it was Toni Storm.
Yeah.
My Amanda thought it was Toni Storm. And
me
then
and my brother literally for about 5 seconds, it
was Toni.
Yeah.
And then she brought the lips, she stopped puckering the lips, and I was like, son of a bitch. And then this is Amanda's reaction for that's not her. That's how I know it's great. That's how I know it's working. And then she cuts her promo. I think the fans kind of ruined this one a little bit. But I'm not here to judge the fans. I'm here to judge the promo and what Mariah May does. And again, she is the savior of AEW at this moment.
She's amazing.
The best thing they got going on. Her and Toni Storm have been amazing. They should fucking main event All In, and I'm going to scream it from the rooftops until it doesn't happen so that I can get mad about it later. But I really enjoyed the promo. I popped a little bit when Toni Storm said, "Oh, bitch, come on now."
Yeah.
That shit was hilarious.
I giggled.
And yeah, I enjoyed this. Obviously, it's going to be very hard for you to give me Tony Storm or Mariah May anything at this point, and I don't like it. I am a mark for it, and that's how it's going to be. So it gets 2 thumbs up from me. So if you don't even give it a thumbs up, it's still going to get 2.
No, it's 2 thumbs up from me.
So if you have anything to add to it, go with it.
Yes, I do. If you didn't know, people, Tony Storm is playing Marilyn Monroe.
Yes.
And the bit that the Mariah did at the end of the promo where she's on the mat is Marilyn Monroe's Playboy color.
Yes.
That's how she was dressed, which is very brave, right, in today's audience where sex still sells, but you are judged for it.
Hey, you know who didn't complain about it? The people who complain about Dom and Liv. I had to get that in there. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah,
if I'm going to mark out over anything more than Tony and Mariah, it's Dominic Mysterio. Yeah, y'all should know that by now. But I wanted to throw that in there. Sex sells, everybody. Shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, it does. End of story. I don't care what year it is. Sex will always sell.
Yes.
So I really enjoyed the Marilyn Monroe Playboy cover thing that she did because that took balls. And
it was done well. It was done well.
It was done really well. Her hair was fantastic. She suited the outfit. The promo I thought was direct. I thought it was exactly what it got across the point it needed to get across. It showed that she has zero remorse for what she's done to Tony Storm. And that I loved the fact that she turned around and said, the question isn't why, Mariah. The question is, why didn't you do it sooner?
Yes. Because it was fun.
It was fun. It was perfect.
Great.
2 thumbs up from me. Loved it. Love everything Mariah May does with Tony Storm.
Best part of the show.
So, every single week.
Yeah, every single week. Okay. See, this is the one thing we're always agreeing on. And again, I really just, the crowd just was weird because it felt like.
I think the crowd were confused. I think a large portion of the crowd couldn't tell it was Mariah May until she started speaking.
But then, even then, they kind of were just being weird. It was just, they kind of made the segment a little weird. But again, Mariah May's been so great, and she didn't miss here either. I'm not going to punish her because the fans were stupid. Don't go back to Little Rock. Jesus. Next up, Bang Bang Gang. I don't know if this was like pulled from Collision. They were just replaying it, but they were stripped of their trios titles because Jay White's injured and they can't do the Freebird rule. And if you don't give them to us, then you don't get. Then I'm going to have to suspend you, and then you can't wrestle for them. Blah 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 blah. My issue here is literally less than a year ago, we had someone get injured and you let someone fill in for them and they didn't even make sense. Juice makes sense and you took it away. What the frick are we doing here?
No, it's dumb.
If Bang Bang Gang doesn't win those titles back, you are going to feel my wrath. You don't do that to Juice Robinson.
No. It's not just that. As my brother put it, Triple H is salivating at the thought of getting the Guns in WWE.
Oh, fuck it.
Right? Because those two boys get it.
Yes.
Right? Without a shadow of a doubt, they get it. Juice gets it. And I will sing Jay White's praises from here till the end of time, as you well know.
If you didn't, I'd kick you out the show right now.
That boy is New Zealand's greatest ever export. Right, and this is the country that is responsible for the Corona people. Right, Jay White is the greatest wrestler to ever come out of New Zealand. Juice Robinson, he's married to Tony Storm. The man is a genius.
Rock hard.
Right, the man is a genius, and the Guns get professional wrestling like few other tag teams of their age.
They're my second favorite tag team in all of wrestling right now.
They're hilarious as a group. They work impeccably well together. They've got great entrance. They've got great ring gear. They've got great music. They've got a great gimmick.
The entire
everything they do
package.
It's perfect package. And taking the belts off them makes no goddamn sense.
Well,
it's dumb. And I swear to God, if they put the Trios titles belts on Christian friggin' Cage, that waste of space dinosaur, and Nick go back to GCW Wayne, I am going to be furious.
My issue.
And I love Christian Cage.
My issue isn't that they're taking the titles off them; it's the way it's being done because it doesn't make any sense.
No.
Because
it makes zero sense because they've done it before with two different teams.
Yes, so that's my only issue here. So I don't even know if I want to grade this because I think this happened on Collision. They just replayed. I don't know.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, so I'm not going to grade this. I'm not going to grade it. If I was, it'd be 2 thumbs down, all the way down to the ground, because you don't do that to Juice Robinson.
No, you don't.
That's how you
or
make
Jay White when he's not even
softy,
on TV.
Softy. Oh, don't do that shit. All right, it is main event time. We have Swerve versus Okada. Now, you know how this all played. It turned into just mayhem at the end. The match didn't even get to the second gear.
Yeah.
The Bucks bum rush, then they claim bum rush, then here comes Mark Briscoe. Here comes Jack Perry, and then Hangman, and then Darby, and then the show.
I did enjoy Darby doing the Sting entrance.
Okay. Before we go into this, I want to ask you. You have MJF and Will Ospreay. You have Swerve Strickland and Okada. You have those 2 matches on your show. If you were to pull this kind of angle to save this match for later, which one of these matches would you do it with?
This one.
Really? You wouldn't do this with MJF versus Will Ospreay? I know the story doesn't make sense, but just to not give it away.
Oh, you mean? Oh, no, Will and MJF. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like I said earlier. It's literally the equivalent of Hogan Goldberg in 1999.
Because
1998.
What I'm looking at is All In is your biggest show of the year, and you had what I thought was going to be your main event, Swerve and Will Ospreay, and you main event that at Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, well, Ospreay and MJF is your main event at All In. You throw it on TV. And then Swerve versus Okada was never an option for the main event of All In. But couldn't it have been? Because of how good they are?
Yeah.
So you had 3 of those matches that you didn't do to get to what they are doing. And I'm not excited about Swerve and Bryan. I think it'll be a good match. But compared to the other ones, I'm not as excited about because we've seen it.
Yeah.
So got that out of the way. I'm glad we agreed there. As far as the match, I don't think there's much to talk about there. Just the angle itself, how it all played out. Give me your bright spots before you give me
Darby's entrance.
Yes.
Because I'm a Sting mark and he's Sting's boy, so it was really cool seeing him do the rafter drop. Mark Briscoe, because it's great to see him getting used. Right, even though they are bastardizing the Ring of Honor Championship once again. It's still good to see Mark Briscoe getting used on television every week because he's getting better as a singles competitor.
Especially for someone who at one point we never thought would be able to be on television.
Completely agree.
It's great.
Completely agree. And let me think. Was there anything else?
Wow.
No, that's it.
Okay, so I'll say this. I enjoyed the Darby spot. And I do like it because not just because of the Sting aspect. The last time we saw Darby, he was hanging from the rafters. Yes. So now we see him return coming from the
rafters.
That's a very cool little
It's called Kenticular. It's called Kenticular storytelling.
Yes.
So where basically Kenticular storytelling. Sorry to be a nerd for a minute, people. Is shaped like an oval. So the concept is the things that happen at the beginning of the story are reflected in reverse at the end of the story.
Yes.
And that's exactly what they did here, which is very, very good storytelling. It's just a pity the rest of the show couldn't do the same.
So that was one thing I liked. I liked when Hangman came out, it was Swerve was the lone man standing, and Hangman was coming out, and it was like, shit's about to pick up.
Yeah.
And then we didn't get to it. I like it because usually what we get in these situations is they go at it.
Yeah,
and they didn't. They're making us wait. Thank you.
Less is more.
You have to do this, and I like that. Man.
See what I mean?
Man. Yeah, I don't even think Okada and Swerve got a chance to that was the worst part.
The match totally underdelivered because of where it was going. And the unfortunate fact is, in AEW, when you have 2 champions wrestling, with the exception of Forbidden Door, because we knew Will or Swerve were going to lose, you knew this was ending in chaos.
Well, it wasn't title for a title or anything like that.
No, but that's the point. When there's a belt on the line, someone will win and someone will lose. When there isn't a belt on the line, Tony Khan is so obsessed with protecting people and protecting the consistency of his championships.
Here's I don't hate that the match ended the way it did. I hate that it didn't get into a certain gear to really drive home Blood and Guts, because Blood and Guts is supposed to be like blood feud. This doesn't come across as a blood feud. We literally just got
stupid because one of the men in this match is called Swerve Strickland. And Swerve Strickland has proven in his time in AEW that he will go, that he will go to any length to achieve his goals. And, this match just felt like they were going through the motions. Like Okada just hit a few of his drop kicks, tombstone, clothesline, nothing major. Swerve did a couple of cool things, but there was not of that usual pizzazz and panache that Swerve Strickland has in his matches. And the super smooth Okada was a little bit sluggish. Like,
again, I don't think
they knew that because they knew where it was going to go, they were just like, we'll phone it in tonight. So
don't give anything away, which again, I guess I'm torn on it, because I get not giving it away because this is a main event for down the road for sure.
Oh yeah, guaranteed.
But Blood and Guts is next week, and I just don't buy this as a blood feud.
No, outside Hangman Swerve, yes.
Oh yeah, outside of them, I just don't see it.
And
I hope they are number one and number two next week.
They've done an okay job with Jack and Darby.
Yeah. I mean, he set him on fire.
Yeah.
And then they hung him upside down and just...
Who gives a shit about the Acclaimed? Honestly, who gives a shit about the Acclaimed versus the Bucks?
Do you think this was supposed to be FTR?
Yeah.
That's See, this is my issue with that, is that's lame.
Yeah.
Because I'm done with FTR and Young Bucks, because I'm
sick of it.
Yeah, it's happened.
They've done 4 matches already, and FTR have beaten them soundly in most of those matches. It's just, I think FTR are 3-1 up on the Young Bucks.
You know who I'd like to have seen in this match better? More over Acclaimed, which sucks because I do love the Acclaimed. But they're just not in the position to be here, and that's on AEW, because I think they should be. Private Party would have been awesome in this spot.
Yes, they would. Yes, they would.
Haven't done anything with them to give them this kind of clout, and that's the shame here. But having them in the Blood and Guts cage, that would have been awesome.
It would have been brilliant. Isaiah Cassidy would have done some insane things inside that cage.
So, with that, that's the show. What are you giving that whole segment? Not the match, the segment, because I don't even consider it a match. Thumbs down to it. He said, "Fuck that." Wow.
No, I'm sorry. But I've decided.
It's your product. You do what you do.
I've decided that, and I hope everyone understands this about this show, is the one thing you and I agreed on when we started this, we would be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, what is the point? We destroy our own credibility, and it doesn't help anybody lying. This is the worst episode of Dynamite I have ever watched. And I've watched all 250 of them.
That's wild.
I went to freaking All In last year and sat there for 7 goddamn hours, right? Till from the beginning of the show to the end. I love AEW and I want it to succeed because it is exactly what the wrestling business needs. The more places there are for wrestlers to work, that behooves everybody. But Jesus Christ, this was poorly directed. It was poorly shot. It was poorly written. It was poorly executed. This is supposed to be your 250th episode of your show, and you did nothing to celebrate that.
I'll say this. I don't want to say it was a bad show because there were a lot of people who did enjoy it. I think the problem with this being your 250th episode is you want these ones to be celebrated by the masses. And exactly. I feel like this is one of the most divisive episodes they've ever had.
Yeah.
I do want to throw in another tidbit because you brought up that Moxley wasn't on this. Who's someone else that wasn't on this that probably should have, based on his importance to AEW? It literally just popped in my head because I looked up here and saw him, and I'm like, wait, what? Where was he at? Orange Cassidy.
Hell yes.
He's literally the most important figures in AEW
And
from
he's
day
not
one.
injured because he just beat the shit out of Trent last week with a pipe wrench.
He's on Rampage.
Ah.
So, but the fact he just wasn't on AEW, the Dynamite is weird to me. That's
I agree.
Ooh. But so I'm gonna go ahead and the tallies are in. we got 5 of these because there wasn't a lot on this show. Like it just wasn't a lot. It was a lot, but it wasn't a lot. So 5 of these, 6 of these, and 7 of these. With that said, it's too close. So this is what this show is to me.
It's a middle of the road show.
It was just across the board. It was even. So it's got to be this for me. I do think just that match just kind of drained me. That's unfortunate because they are the number 1 and number 2 guy there.
Realistically, when you put your 2 top stars in a match, I love Swerve, and I've said more than time and again that your world champion should more than often than not main event the show.
And he did.
But when it's not a title match and Will versus Max is a title match, they should have reversed this.
They couldn't, again, because it's an hour-long match. If they would have put that match on at 8 o'clock, that would have been an exact dead, no way around it. Everyone knew how it was going to go.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of people who didn't know it was going to be a tie or go the distance or whatever it was. We weren't going to get that long of a match, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't realize that until about 30 minutes in. Because again, I thought in my head 30 minutes was going to be the time limit draw.
So did I.
So they went 60 minutes, and it drained me. It did, and that's unfortunate. I hate that happened, but I'm excited for Blood and Guts because it's a new week, baby. And Darby is in there. Darby's gonna. I think this is his first Blood and Guts.
Yeah, it is. Darby Allin is going to do some crazy shit.
Jack Perry is going to murder that man on.
Yeah.
So we'll play a little game here. Who do you think is the first person in for each team?
Darby and Jack.
Okay. I say Swerve and Hangman.
Okay.
I think as a face champion, you got to be the man who steps up and takes charge. And then Hangman. And if Hangman sees that, he's going to like, get the fuck out of my way. I'm doing it.
I figure Blood and Guts is going to be about an hour long.
Oh, for sure. It always is.
And I think you need your gas tanks in there first. And that's Jack and that's Darby.
That's fair. And that's one you can put on at 8 because we know it's going to go an hour. And that's why that works putting on last, whereas MJF and Ospreay wouldn't have worked. I'm glad, again, as much as I brutalized the show, I did defend a lot of it. So I was being as fair as I could possibly be. But that's the show. We won't even get to review Blood and Guts.
We'll do a double episode the week after.
We'll go over Blood and Guts for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, that's the show. Thank you guys for watching. As always, much appreciated. If you're still here, thank you. Don't know why, but I do appreciate it. Nick, tell them what they need to know and where they need to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Nick the Geek. You can find me over on the Wrestling Legion YouTube channel. We've been away for a couple of weeks because I've been away for a couple of weeks. But we will be back soon. We do fantasy booking, we do watch-alongs, we do general podcasts and reviews. If you like watching that, if you'd like listening to my voice, come catch me at Wrestling Legion. Thank you very much. And remember, we are but 2 geeks obsessed with a good show, and our opinion means nothing without yours in the comments below.
Give us a boom, not a bust. And don't forget you take over the table. I'm sure you're still doing that one, yes?
Yes, we are. That will be back this Sunday. We are doing
a
double episode. Take over. We just did San Antonio.
Okay, we're getting closer.
Yes, we're getting closer.
I will be on this one for New Orleans, baby, because that is the greatest takeover of all time. And before I do go, I just want to go let you know, Slam Sessions, he's about getting to the point where he has no more material at the moment, but he has a lot of stuff. If you haven't checked it out, you can still go check it out. There's a lot. If you're into
he is the Matt Cardona of wrestling YouTube.
Yes, he is. And he's an awesome person. Albert is amazing. Go check it out. He puts work into his videos. You don't do the live stuff like me where it's just like no work, all play. He puts in the work. So go.
His videos are brilliantly edited. It's great.
Go over there and give him the attention it deserves. And with that, thank you. And we will be back in 2 weeks, not next week, because again, I'm going on vacation next week. So we will be back for that. And with that, thank you all and see you then. Toodles.